The views expressed, opinions given, and any communication made between the hosts and guests of What Are You Afraid of Horror and Paranormal Show do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of Para-X Radio, EMC Network, or all services that play this show. The hosts and services are not responsible for the actions of their guests, and the original rights of all intellectual property is retained by the creator, and all work is used with either permission or Creative Commons license. The show is for entertainment purposes only. Episode 65. We are live at King of Prussia Mall for Malloween, and I am T. Fox Dunham. Phil Thomas couldn't be here with us today. He's taking care of his mom, nor could J.V. Dodson. He had some trouble with his car, but he will be on a future episode, and he did do a story they both did for us. But we are so happy because with us is P.D. Cacek, yes, who's decided to come and join us. She was here at the last Malloween, and we had a great time with her, and we were really glad at last minute that I could bring her back.
Well, you tend to dig me up for these things
I do
once
dig
a
you
year.
Up.
Yes,
and
you
then I bury you, I dig you up.
And people are beginning to, question what I am, but, that's fine.
Oh, you're real. I think you're real. Well, okay.
On occasion.
Who needs to be real?
Oh, gosh.
I know. But we are at Malloween at Uncanny Comics. Actually, I think it's Uncanny exclamation point. In the King of Prussia Mall, probably one of the biggest malls in the region, if not the world. People come from all over the world to the King of Prussia Mall. And why not? It's huge.
And come here, because this is a beautiful store.
This is a great
Gorgeous
comic book shop at Uncanny exclamation point. And we were here last year at Malloween. We gave out a ton of candy to the kids. It was a great deal of fun, and loved seeing them, and loved seeing their great costumes. A lot of Sith Lords.
Good.
A lot of them didn't come as Luke Skywalker. They came as Kylo Ren or Darth Vader.
Well, it's a lot more fun being evil.
It is.
And it's a lot more fun writing evil. I mean, you get the good, Star Wars heroes and all, but,
right.
Evil is fun.
Evil is fun.
Evil is fun.
Absolutely. We said it here at What Are You Afraid of Horror and Paranormal Show at www.whatareyoufraidofpodcast.com, where you can find our previous Halloween content. We are almost there, but we have done great shows, Trish. Let me tell you about them. First, we had J.V. Dodson do his Terror Clown Apocalypse. We did 2 shows there. The Terror Clowns came and got us. Okay. Then we were at Fort Mifflin with Darcy Ort, Philadelphia ghost historian Darcy Ort. She was great. We had Debbie Chestnut back on the show with her new books, Ghosts of Anchor Bay, Michigan. She's wonderful. Debbie's great. And then we were in Gettysburg with Mr. Mark Nesbitt.
Whoa! Okay.
Ghost historian of Gettysburg. Last 25 years, Mark has been out there writing the books, telling the stories. He is Mr. Ghost of Gettysburg, and he was incredible. Great 2-hour show. And since then, it's just been wild. We had all these people come on. We were at Pennhurst twice. We talked to Ghost Tours of USA there. We actually got to speak with Jonathan Elias, who we don't know. I don't have any information about this, but he's on the Halloween Baking Competition Championship on Food Network.
Oh.
And it looks like he's one of the last 3 contestants. We're going to find out this week if he made it, if he's going to win. He's pretty smug about it. So we're pretty sure Jonathan Elias is one. But he was on Pennhurst 1 to share some baking ideas for Halloween. So go check that out.
Fantastic,
at www.whatareyoufraidofpodcast.com. That was episode 61, Penhurst. All the episodes are on the website. You can find them there. And Jonathan did an interview with me. He gave some great ideas, like taking an Oreo, dipping it in chocolate, putting little candy eyes on it, and then decorating it with legs. Little, cookie spiders. By the way,
Somebody's head fell down.
we are in a live studio, or we're not in a studio, we are in a on-site. That's what we do. We love being on-site. We love being with the people. We must have
Some
given
of them
out,
might be alive and some are not, but
we're not sure.
We're not sure.
That's how we roll, though. We gave out about 250 pieces of candy and about 75 ghost stories today to the kiddies, and they absolutely loved them. And it was just great seeing them. Love the kids. But we were at Uncanny Comics, and I think we should start out with a song so we can kind of get calibrated.
Oh, yeah.
But this is T. Fox Dunham, episode 65, with special guest P.D. Cacek, Trick or Treat, and we are at, Malloween at King of Prussia, having a great time.
The worms crawl out, they crawl all over your dirty snout, your chest. My name is David Walton. I am a vocal performer for What Are You Afraid Of? Horror and Paranormal show. And I have carried the burden of a terrible secret. I am actually what is offensively called a ghost. For years now I have concealed my ectoplasmic existence from my friends and family in fear of a common prejudice against ghosts, or what we like to call the disembodied. I have existed frightened of being discovered, unable to do physical acts that the embodied take for granted, such as walking a squirrel, or drinking a glass of vitamin E milk fresh squeezed from a whale. I grew depressed and even considered acts of self-harm or reincarnation, which is suicide for the disembodied. Such movies as Ghostbusters and its sequels drove my feelings of disenfranchisement, and I began looking for help, only to encounter painful exorcisms in the houses I haunted. Then I met two good people, it says here, Fox and Phil, at What Are You Afraid Of? Horror and Paranormal. And they helped me take control of my own life. Now, it is my choice whether I wish to make phantom bounds in the night, appear at the foot of your bed in darkness, or make your walls bleed. If you are a disembodied person like I am, and you're living a lie, What Are You Afraid Of? Can help you too. They are on at 9 p.m. on Friday nights at Para X Radio, leaving plenty of time for midnight haunting activities, and can be found on all major podcast services. Listen to their paranormal stories, interviews, humorous sketches and horror fiction to know that you are not alone. And if you are a member of the embodied, don't forget, you are only a single heart attack or tumour away from becoming one of us. This is David Walton. See you on the other side. Or as I call it, this side. And that is the end of a perfect day.
Your source for everything paranormal. Para X.
Quality warning. This podcast often records in the field to gather the best in paranormal materia from witnesses. Often, we cannot control the quality of sound in this environment, such as you may hear distortions or perhaps the occasional moaning. But then again, we're not about control, are we?
Embrace the chaos.
You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows, visit electronicmediacollective.com.
goes down, the moon comes up, and here come the frights. Here come the frights of Halloween night. They're haunting, it's daunting. They carry flashlights. They carry flashlights on this Halloween night. If you hear a rapping on your door, prepare yourself for a dreadful fright on Halloween night. Halloween night. Halloween night. Halloween night. Werewolves are around, ghosts make no sound. Gremlins are creeping and monsters are sleeping. Skeletons are dancing while the vampires bite on Halloween night. On Halloween night. Have you heard a rapping on your door? Oh, it's such a dreadful fright on Halloween night. Halloween night. Halloween night.
Werewolves are around, ghosts make no sound. Gremlins are creeping around, monsters sleeping. Skeletons are dancing while the vampires bite.
Mr. Monk Turner from Halloween Night. We played him last year, and we love him. He's incredible. Love getting Mr. Monk Turner on the show. We're probably going to play him every Halloween night. And we are back at www.whatareyoufraidofpodcast.com. We got a sign behind us. I got fox ears. She's got a unicorn. No, she's literally got a unicorn. Yes, I'll go with unicorn. And they're
gold. Yeah, white with
it's ghost.
Purple.
I thought it was a ghost unicorn.
It's a ghost.
Yes. And I got a cappuccino. She's got her mask.
Ow.
But episode 65, Trick or Treat with P.D. Cacek. And where the heck are we? Uncanny Comics and King of Prussia Mall had a great morning with the kids. And you heard Monk Turner do his Halloween Night. And I love that song. That's what we always open up the show with. We got some great content for you tonight. We're playing part 4 of a story from Daniel Broom. We've got one from J.V. Dodson. Phil Thomas gave us a great Halloween one that just got published. We got a ghost story called Deadlands from a guy that I know called Bill Goff. Happy birthday, Bill. It was the other day I was waiting to get online to say happy birthday, Bill. But, happy birthday, Bill Goff. And he sent it in to us, recorded by David Walton. So how have you been? P.D. Cacek, we call her Trish.
Yes.
It's P.D. Cacek. How you been?
I've been good. I've been vulturing Bulging is when a store is going out of business.
Okay.
And you go, bulge. So I did that with the JCPenney's here in the mall, and came across a mannequin. Now, if anybody who knows me, I do not like dolls. I do not like mannequins. I am, mannequin phobic. So naturally, when I saw one of these little mannequins for sale, I asked the woman how much, and $35, so I bought it. And my intention was to put a little drape on him for Halloween and scare the kids. I picked him up, and suddenly an entire novel came to mind.
Okay.
His name is Sebastian, name of the novel, and I'm writing it now. So Sebastian is now sitting in my office next to my desk, giving me inspiration every day, which has only freaked a few people out who's come into my office. But that's what I've been doing.
That sounds great. So you've been writing, and some of the books you've published already are
my newest book is only available as an ebook. It's called The Selkie, and it's about Irish. I have to do the accents. It's about an Irish entity called a Selkie who is human on land and it looks like a seal.
Of course, yes. All the stories of the Selkie quite well.
And it starts out a little harsh. It's about a mother whose daughter is ill, and so she does a mercy killing. But she says, "I know my daughter's alive. I gave her to the Selkie," and it goes from there. Kind of horror.
All right, where can we get this at?
It's Amazon.com.
All right.
You go online, and if you have an e-reader, you can read it. I don't, so I'm sure. Now, may I pick one of these up?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Please.
Now, I just bought this, and you must buy this too.
Okay, that's Mercy. Thank you. That's my horror hospital novel about my battle with cancer. And the reason it's so special to me this time of year is because this is when I died. But we passed by St. Mary's Hospital yesterday, we were going up to Sleepy Hollow. My wife and I went to a haunted house. It wasn't Penhurst. We just wanted to go to a place where we could just relax and enjoy and not worry about a table and a show. So I went up to Sleepy Hollow. It's a favorite of ours. They do a great corn maze and a great haunted house, Midnight Productions. And we passed St. Mary's Hospital on the way, and I looked at it and I got this chill because I could see the very room where it happened in the ICU on October 3rd. It wasn't October 31st, it was like October 15th. Right around that month when I was 18 when I died, when the lymphoma had finally overwhelmed me and I passed and they brought me back, and then I was released on the 31st, and it was the true spirit of Samhain. It was the rebirth, it was the new year, And so I wrote this book called Mercy, and Mercy is about what they did to me. Like, you have cancer, not a very serious kind, and few people, actually no one survived it before me. And so you let them do these terrible things to you, these visceral things. You let them take bone marrow. You let them stick you in the back. They let you burn you with chemo and radiation and, all these horrible things, very painful things. And you get mad at yourself later for letting them do it. But what I did was I took that pain and made it into an animated hospital story about a hospital that gets possessed by a demon and has to prepare these souls and help them release their lives so this evil presence from another universe can devour them. And it's all tied up into this ex-love that he had, that he can't let go, and she's there, she died there, and her spirit's there. And in the last days of his life, William Saint has to fight this hospital and stop it from eating the world. And
buy the book.
That's what about
I did.
Today, yeah.
I did.
That's Mercy from Bloodbound Books. You'll find a reading on it on episode 63, The Haunting of Katrina Weidman, and of course you have commercials for it on every episode. You can find that on Amazon. You can find that on the website at
All those W's.
All the W's. WhatAreYouAfraidOfPodcast.com. And of course Amazon, T-Fox, Dunham, and everywhere evil books are sold to corrupt your dreams.
Which, that is what we do.
That's what we do.
And we love it.
That is exactly what we love to do. I mean, it's so much fun.
Well, as I was mentioning earlier, evil characters are fun.
Evil, very fun.
Being scared is fun. And it releases the endorphins and it makes you feel alive. Being scared to death.
And that's what it's all about. It's about, it's like a roller coaster. Why would you go on a roller coaster? You're being thrown about at 1,000,000 miles an hour with G-forces that are like going up in a rocket, and yet people run to it. It's because the adrenaline, the chemicals, the thrill.
And you come out of it alive.
You do, and you
survive
most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time. Yeah, there are some incidents, but
right. But we are checking our Facebook page, and you can check us out, on the different Facebook pages, and also at the EMC Podcast Network page. You can see the video. And, we've actually been able to do it where we can now play the sound over the video. Isn't that incredible? Like, we've been trying to do this for a while, and I've been trying different techniques, but it was Randall Silly, the guy who does EMC Podcast Network, who came and showed me how to set this up and trap Sam Broadcaster over video. So now we just turn off the mic and start playing the sound, and you can watch it and hang out, and we can edit it later. And here we are live at King of Prussia at Malloween.
Yes.
Which is just really a lot of fun.
Yes, and Halloween is coming, but what people don't remember is it's All Hallows Eve.
It is all, and Samhain, that's what I was saying.
Yes, Samhain, but the next day is All Hallows Day. And that is also kind of, everybody passes that. Because, it's a holy day. Well, it always wasn't.
Right.
That's when things could and sometimes did happen.
Right. And All Saints Day, that became, of course it was, they took a lot of pagan holidays and made them into Christian holidays because they couldn't get rid of them, so they tried to convert them and mix the traditions. And all they ended up doing was preserving the original traditions. We still celebrate Halloween. We still celebrate Christmas very much like pagans do. And, I said I attend some Quaker meeting, but I'm a bard at heart. And, not only do I love this time of year for all the scary stuff, but I'll also be out there celebrating the new year.
Oh, yeah.
The old year is turned.
Yeah.
Listening to Lorena McKenna.
Yeah.
I love Lorena McKenna.
And come over to Firebird Festival in Phoenixville, and we will sacrifice a Firebird so the sun will shine the next day.
What day is that?
This year, I'm not too sure, but you can check at PhoenixvilleEvents.com.
All right, okay. PhoenixvilleEvents.com. You can tell people over there.
But I think this time of year, we start thinking more about, there are ghosts all year round.
Right.
We think about this time because the light changes. It goes from the bright blue to the soft, mellow golden. And the shadows get longer, and the days get shorter. And as animals, we go, okay, we need to go burrow into a nice, warm, safe place because there are things out there.
Right.
There's something inside of our genetic memory, our little monkey brain going, this is probably a good time to hide.
Fox brain.
The fox brain, yes. Yes.
Right, there you go.
So
it's time to conserve energy. It's time when and of course the pagan view of it is that the year is like a life cycle, and Samhain is death, and then we have rebirth around Christmas time, and then of course the cycle into Beltane, adolescence, Luinosa in the summer, and then the waning of the year back into old age, and you can see the world changing its age. You can see it alive with youth and adolescence and burning and then dying with fall and getting old and then dying off and becoming cold and dead, yet the life begins again. The seeds sprout again.
They're hidden.
They're hidden and they're buried, but you just have to wait and have faith and remembrance that the life cycle will continue.
Yeah. Well, as a legitimate, honest to God, got my AARP card senior citizen, and even before then, I've always loved autumn. To me, it was never dying. To me, it was life. I would see the colors change. Tick, I can get you a flea collar. No, that's okay. But there you are. But no, autumn is special, and more, just because Halloween. But it is special. It is a quiet time when you can almost hear things.
Right.
The wind.
That's very true. And it's very still, and I love a rainy autumn day.
Oh, you'll love tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, I know. That's why we're here today, and then tomorrow I'm settling in and I'm baking these pumpkin cookies. I even got these little pumpkin molds. I know. I'm cooking. It's going to be fantastic.
I am going to make my award-winning, because I came in second.
Oh, those are award-winning. Hey.
It's a brown sugar.
Okay.
Apple pie with salted caramel sauce.
Salted caramel sauce.
I'll send you a recipe.
Oh, please do. That sounds amazing.
It really is.
Oh, we gotta go try that.
Yes.
Okay, and you know what else is really great for the autumn? Ghost stories.
Ghost stories.
And we got this one sent in by Bill Goff. It was on the Facebook page. It was just his birthday. Happy birthday, Bill Goff.
Happy birthday.
This is Deadlands, and this is David Walton reading it. And we are on What Are You Afraid of? Horror and Paranormal Show, on Para-X Radio, on EMC Podcast Network, on all major podcast services, and live video sometimes when we're live and we can get the technology together. And you know what? It's been tough setting it up. We really got it together. This is great. But this is Deadlands, read by David Walton on What Are You Afraid of?
Deadlands, submitted by Bill Goff, Stetson University, DeLand, Florida, and read by David Walton. This ghost story happened to me during my college years at Stetson University in DeLand, Florida. It was during the summer months, and on this particular afternoon, I was helping a friend move to a rental house on one of the side streets in the small town of DeLand. Not surprisingly, we often refer to this town as Deadland, since there was little to do in this small, sleepy college town. The streets here are thickly lined with huge live oak trees on both sides, casting a deep shade onto both houses and the street as well. Spanish moss hangs ominously from the branches of these trees, creating an eerie effect even during the day. Our car was filled to the brim with items to be moved, so we pulled up to the front of the house as close as we could get. My friend grabbed some bags of clothes and went in ahead of me. I was a few minutes behind her, with my arms filled with kitchen items to take into the house. I opened the door myself, as best as one can with both hands full of items, when, quite unexpectedly, I spied something. A figure, actually, seated in a chair located in a long hallway. It slowly stood up and walked down the rest of the way and turned into the dining room. It didn't move fast or slowly, just as if one was moving casually from one room to another. It was a see-through figure, looking quite like a black and white photographic negative. I couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman, but it did have human form and was definitely adult-sized. I stood there for a minute or so trying to make sense of what I had seen. Still stunned, I walked through the dining room, not seeing anything there. I told my friend, who was now back in the kitchen, what I had seen. To my surprise, she didn't seem upset or frightened, but she mentioned that she thought there was a ghost in the house, since she had been in the home earlier that day, and her dog would mysteriously go into chilly corners of the house and bark at apparently nothing. Later that day, when the moving was all finished, she told me she was going to the Episcopal church at the end of the street and have the priest come and bless the house. She did so, and did not see any sign of a ghost after that.
Are you haunted by shadow people in the middle of the night?
Do you secretly love all things creepy and spooky, enjoying ghost stories and horror fiction from the best storytellers?
Do you have a true ghost experience you want to share, but no one will believe you?
If yes, listen to the professionals on What Are You Afraid of? Horror Paranormal Show, Friday nights at 9 p.m. on Para-X Radio and at www.whatareyouafraidofpodcast.com.
What Are You Afraid of on Para-X?
Our creepy and demented hosts are on call to provide you with all your spooky needs with true ghost stories, interviews, indie music, and new horror fiction.
We are ready to scare you. Para-X.
Mercy, a new horror medical thriller from author T. Fox Dunham, published by Bloodbound Books. Based on the author's horrific battle with a rare form of lymphoma that involved intense chemotherapy and radiation, Fox turns the horror of his experience into terror on the page.
William Saint is dying of cancer. On most days, death seems like a humane alternative to the treatment. Stricken with fever, William is rushed to Mercy, notorious as a place to send the sickest of the poor and uninsured to be forgotten, and finds the hospital in even worse condition than his previous visit.
Willie's memories faded. He grabbed his the sack head of the scarecrow, picking at the exposed chicken wire to hold them in. However, the memories fell out of the holes in his face. They wormed and crawled from the leather flesh and the old clothing of the scarecrow, then squirmed and wiggled down his body.
The grounds are unkempt, the foundation is cracking, and like the wild mushrooms sprouting from the fissures of decay around it, something is growing inside the hospital. Something dark.
Fangoria gives Mercy 3.5 out of 4 skulls. Dunham has channeled his many brushes with the other side into the exquisitely rendered, lyrical, supernatural hospital thriller Mercy.
It's feeding on the sickness and sustaining itself on the staff, changing them, and now it wants Willie.
Come now, Mr. Saint. Just a little more of that sweet milk. So salty and so good. You won't miss it. And we ever do so like our delicacies here at Mercy Hospital.
Part medical horror, part supernatural suspense, Mercy is a hard-hitting fever dream of a novel. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Tim Wagner, author of The Way of All Flesh and Eat the Night. Available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and bookstores everywhere in both print and digital versions.
Life is an addiction.
Let go. Let it all burn.
You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows, visit electronicmediacollective.com.
4. Returning to the scene of the crime. The California border's west and you're taking me east, Ed said. I'm gonna run out of time. You know where we're going yet? Miss Sugarskull asked. You're not listening to me, are you? They passed a sign for a rest stop, and it dawned on Ed. I'm not going there. No way. Or what? Miss Sugarskull said. Nothing. Forget it. He shifted his weight, grabbed the wheel with his left hand, grabbed her hand with his right, fast, as if it held a prison shank coming for him. He pulled hard, expecting the car to turn around. The wheel didn't budge. He squeezed her hand harder. Turn it around, he said. Now, don't make this hard. He couldn't move her hand either. She turned her head, slow, cool as could be, licked her lips. He thought the expression might be a smile, or maybe hiding that she tasted something sour. No, she said. Fuck this, Ed said. He didn't know what her expression meant, but it unnerved him worse than anything he'd ever seen inside. He let go of her hand, let go of the wheel. He reached for the door and found the handle. He squeezed and shouldered it. It opened. He shifted right and rolled himself out. He hit the soft sand on the side of the road and kept on rolling. He tasted dirt, spread out his arms, his legs, stopped his forward motion and found his way to his knees, then stood and staggered west. Maybe he couldn't make it home by morning, but he could at least cross the state line. The Charger skidded to a halt and swung around in front of him. Ed told himself there was no way he was getting back in, no way she was going to get him arrested, but he found himself walking towards the car. The passenger door opened. He walked over and sat inside against his will. Miss Sugarskull watched him emotionlessly. I know I can't stop you, Ed said. I wish you wouldn't do this. It has to be tonight. You and I both know that. I don't want to. Tell me about your Francisca. They drove in silence. Ed rubbed his arm. The bites were raised and the area surrounding them painful. Once her mom moved in, things got rough. She'd drink, get angry, argue with me for no reason. Even when she didn't drink, she'd be angry. Our arguments turned to fights. More often than not, she'd hit me. You're a big guy. You took that. It's not about size or strength. It's about the person you love. Flip side of that love, hating you so much to strike you. I thought I deserved it. I thought I wasn't good enough. Fucked up. I know. But you were together for that last job. I never should have took her. I'd never hurt her, but she asked to come along to make sure I didn't back out. I should have said no, but I let her come along anyway. Part of me knew it was my way out. I knew we were over. You have to talk to her one more time. How do you know? My sister and I were out on the Strip yesterday afternoon. You live in Vegas? No, we don't live anywhere. But we were drawn to the Strip. Drawn? Like hearing a call. This time it was your wife calling us. My wife? My ex-wife? My dead wife? She told me you'd gotten out and your brother was taking you to the Flamingo to help you move on. My wife, really. She's here right now. You'll see her soon. Soon? You don't have a lot of time. I'll make it. I'll be back before my PO knows I jumped the state. You just have to turn around and head west. No, the bite. I know. She licked her lips as a desert creature would. A procession of costumed people walking along the shoulder of the highway caught Ed's attention. Dozens of people in a straight line, all wearing sugar skull makeup. The colors brightened the earthy tones of the desert night. Ed thought he could see the cacti through them, but when he blinked, they were gone. It's just a bite. I'm fine. No, you're not. Miss Sugarskull drove onto the off-ramp for the rest stop. There's something you have to do, she said. Take off your costume. You keep saying that. I'm not wearing one. Miss Sugarskull pulled the Charger onto a spot. The rest stop lot was empty, and just as Ed remembered, desert sand and cacti lined the parking area beneath the huge sign that needed its bulbs changed. Processions of skull-faced people circled the lot, groups and groups of them. Side by side and in lines, they half walked, half danced to music Ed could not hear. What's with all the costumes? Ed asked. What do you think? Ed shrugged. Help us celebrate, she said. Feel part of something. Honor the dead. None of that makes sense to you? You took yours off back at the motel. Why? I wasn't wearing a costume, she said. Then Ed saw Francisca.
Caliburn Press, LLC is a Madison, Wisconsin-based publishing company owned and operated by Alan Ledden. Caliburn works with talented writers, artists, editors, and marketers throughout the United States, and you can find their books through their many imprints that include Damnation Books, Eternal Press, Malaferia Press, Ciento Sordida Publishing, and Spiro Publishing. Please visit their website at sites.google.com/site/Caliburn Press LLC/home or Google Caliburn Press to check out their growing list of titles on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and any other place fine books are sold.
You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows, visit electronicmediacollective.com.
We are back at King of Prussia Mall. Back.
Or front.
Or front.
One or the other.
Whatever you prefer. On EMC Podcast Network. Our live show today at Malloween. It is the 20th. Can you believe Halloween got here so fast?
No.
I know.
No, it was like, well, it hasn't felt like autumn this year.
No, it's
been very warm, and, the leaves are just starting to turn, which is lovely, but usually, you get that first shading of the colors changing, and then the light changes, and then there's coolness, and but
it's like SCTV, remember?
Oh, gosh.
Floyd?
Yes.
Would you like a card?
Oh, Lord.
Remember? I'm sorry, you had to do that.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, there you go. Okay. Yes,
As you can see, Halloween brings out the children of all of us.
Back to PD Cacek.
Okay. Well, I was going to mention a little bit about Eastern State Penitentiary. Mm-hmm. Now, I have never been on their haunted tour.
Okay.
First time I saw it was years ago. when a friend said, was taking me for a tour of Philadelphia, and I said, oh, what is that? Because sometimes I'm drawn to places that I don't know why. Okay. And you see this castle in the middle of the city, you're going to wonder what it is. Right. So I wondered. He said, oh, this is Eastern State Penitentiary. Now, I knew the name. And I said, oh, okay. And they were giving tours like they usually do. So we went in, and I got as far as the anteroom.
Okay.
And I stopped. I said, nope, I'm not going to go in there.
Right.
Because, gang, it is haunted.
That's what I hear.
There are things in there.
Right.
I didn't go in. I will if we ever go together because, I don't want to be in there and have things happen and not have it, verified.
Right.
I also want you to be able to drag my body out. But, other than that.
Oh, I can't do that.
Well, just leave me. I'll be fine.
No, we'll bring your son.
Okay, there we
drag
go.
Both of us out.
Yeah. But no, it's not that scary. But there is a madness, I think, in the walls, and you can feel it. At least I could.
Eastern State, yeah. It's an old shaman concept that we often talk about, how things remember, places remember, genus loci. There's a spirit of a place, and what happens to that place influences that spirit the same way a child grows up in an abusive home or a happy home, and it remains there, and that's often the source of ghost stories.
Yeah. Well, it was the Eastern State was created, I believe, by Franklin, to be a penitence thing, where people would go and be alone and think about what they're doing. Now, if you're nuts, that is not a good thing to do.
Right. Very much a Quaker prison belief system at the time. Yeah, solitary confinement in your cell to think about and, repent to God.
Yes. Now, a friend of mine was one of the haunters.
Okay.
Costume characters. If you walk into the anteroom where I stopped, and you look up, there's a little window above. Okay. That's where the guard would stand, making sure nobody who's supposed to be there did, get out. And he was supposed to be one of the zombie guards. And you'd come in and you go, wah!
It does look cool. I've never been. I saw it last night on telly.
But there's a staircase that winds around and goes up to this room. And he was standing there before the doors opened, and this guy in prison garb, an actor, came up and said, how's it going? He goes, oh, it's fine. He said, yeah, they're going to open pretty soon. You like it? Oh, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, okay, see you later. He walks down, not 2 seconds later, and this is a very narrow staircase.
Okay.
Another guy comes up and says, okay, we're going to start in 2 minutes. He goes, yeah, the guy told me. He goes, what guy?
What guy? I love this. I love that.
And he goes, what do you mean, what guy? So another guy was just up here. Said, no, the door was closed, and I just came up here. That was the last time he was there, because there was no explanation of who he was talking to.
I love it how ghost stories always turn on that phrase.
Yeah.
Wait, what guy? Or what maid? Or no one's worked here last night.
Well,
there was nobody in the attic.
That's like a question to our listeners and watchers. Have you seen a ghost?
Have you seen a ghost?
The answer is possibly.
You might be seeing one now.
You might be, because unless they're, the mist or the apparition or residual, sometimes they look alike.
Yeah.
Like us.
Yeah, like us.
There have been Cold Harbor.
Okay.
Battlefield.
Oh yeah.
There are scenes, and Gettysburg, there are many stories of people coming back to the Rangers or leaving on. I love the guys in reenactment, and they're going, thank you, great, and there was no reenactment
Mark
that day.
Nesbitt told that story.
Yeah.
Yeah. About that.
It happens.
We were in Gettysburg, episode 60.
Scenes of terror. And sometimes you die so fast you don't know. Or sometimes I think, what my personal philosophy about ghosts and all, I think when we die we're given a choice. I'm coming back because I have a list of people I'm going to haunt.
Oh.
I have a list. I have a little list.
Well, let me know that list so I can get ahead and do shows there.
Okay, that would be fun.
Yeah, let me know. Just give me Tricia's list. PDA Cacek's list of people she's going to haunt. Anyone I know?
Possibly.
Any authors?
Possibly.
Okay, this is.
In fact, he just wrote a book, but I plan to come back.
Well, you heard it here. She's threatening you to come haunt you. Yeah, I'm good with that. I mean, that's really the one threat you got is I'm going to come back and haunt you.
Oh yes. Well, it's not haunt. It's just why not?
Hang out and watch your telly and eat all your cheese.
Chocolate.
Chocolate, right? Cheese and chocolate.
I'll be dead. I won't get that.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's what I hear. But we are at Uncanny Comics. Uncanny. It's just Uncanny! Exclamation. Uncanny Comics. In King of Prussia Mall. If you've ever been up to the East, King of Prussia is huge. It's like a colony to commercialism. It's beautiful. I mean, this is a great store.
Yeah.
I mean, it's huge. And we come to the King of Prussia Mall because it's so busy. We had 150 trick-or-treaters earlier. And now the place is overwhelming with people coming, hanging out, looking at their shirts, looking at their comic books, getting candy. There's free Halloween comics, and it's really fun.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have been doing so much. We were in Gettysburg. We were in Fort Mifflin. We have been down to Penhurst twice. We talked to Katrina Weidman from Paranormal Lockdown. Lloyd Kaufman, really political episode, that one. And he is very emphatic about what he feels like is the death of freedom of speech. So caution, listen to that one. But what a remarkable...
Well, no caution. Just listen.
Yeah.
And, listen. Don't make judgments. Just listen.
He's remarkable, Lloyd Kaufman. He's fighting for freedom of speech and freedom of spirit. But it's been a remarkable October, and we've been out in the world, trying to be on location, made a few live experiment attempts, but, something I learned... it's very difficult to do a live show, especially a video stream, from a haunted house, because generally they're about 300 years old, and they don't have very good Wi-Fi.
No.
So, when we decided to do one from a modern comic book shop at King of Prussia, I was okay with it.
Oh, yeah.
Besides a glitch or two with the signal, we've been good.
Yeah.
We've been good. Hanging out with PD Cacek, we got some more material. By the way, that was part 5 of Daniel Broom's A Man's Guide to Costumes and the Most Common Ways to Get Arrested. And starting like episode 60, you can hear part 1, and we'll put them all together for you on the website. It's a story of his from the Wish Mechanics, stories of the strange and fantastic, and it's a story set a day after Halloween. So...
Yes, do not wear a clown costume the day after Halloween.
All right. Unless you tell us so we can get some clown news.
Yeah, please.
Because we do clown news, not this time, but we don't have any... do you have any clown news, do you know? Any clown sightings? Because our listeners love clown news. In fact, we can do a little clown news here.
Not real. My mannequin is going as a clown for Halloween. Don't ask.
Yes, that's our clown news intro. That's for Bill. Bill loves the clown news thing. God. But yeah, okay.
Well, that was kind of I don't like clowns. They scare me. But I'm looking at them and going, what the heck is this?
It took my wife to there we go. Here's our clown news again. Took my wife to Sleepy Hollow up in Newtown, PA last night. Had a beautiful Italian dinner. Had a beautiful night. And then we went on the Sleepy Hollow hayride. And she said, by the way, there are no clowns, right? And I said, no. And she's like, wait, there are clowns. I'm like, I know, I lied. And we're on the hayride, and it's full of like 3 different carts of people. And of course, the clowns zero in on her.
Of course.
And
like cats.
Right in her face. And do you like clowns? You don't like clowns. So she was not very happy. Yeah, so, but clowns, why are we afraid of them? Because I think there's so much of the brain that is designed to read the human face as truth and the emotion that when it's covered with makeup, we see deception.
Well, that and the fact that there's been a couple of very famous clowns who've been serial killers,
John Wayne Gacy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the mask that moves. Now, I've not seen it. I do plan to see the new remake of It. And that whole family's very, wonderful actors. But the look on his face, I mean, I saw it and went, okay, there's a nightmare waiting to happen. Mm. But Tim Curry, I love Tim Curry. He was wonderful.
I still have to see Rocky Horror. Oh. That's one of my Halloween traditions.
Oh, yeah, that is. I was going to say, you've never seen it?
Oh, no, I've seen it. I mean, I'd have to see it this week.
Oh, yes.
Before it gets...
But, but it was Tim Curry. He was very, very good. Hello. Hi, we're doing a live podcast about ghosts.
We'll be back, guys.
You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows, visit electronicmediacollective.com.
The Curse of Jenny Greenteeth by J. Lee Dodson. Read by T. Fox Dunham. November 6th, 2017. The heavy rainstorm pounded our home that night, and I can still remember the screams of my father as I killed him. I never wanted to commit such an act, however it had to be done. My name is Toby Wilkins, and this is my story. Early that evening, I was hanging out with 3 of my best friends. We were headed to the edge of the Witch River. It ran just about 100 feet away from my house. Devin, my closest friend, asked to see this patch of water where one of the local kids drowned 2 weeks ago. I told him it was a bad idea, but Marcus and Stephen, my other 2 friends, insisted on seeing the spot for themselves. The rumors were that a haggard old water witch grabbed the kid and drowned him. Parker, I think his name was, played here when it happened. His body was found by the local drunk, and he saw what happened. He kept mentioning something about a witch from the river that killed the boy. Of course, no one believed him. The media covered it for days, and eventually the heat died down, once they could not find a killer, or the killer's motive. I still think the drunk was right. Many times I had heard and seen strange things out here while I was playing in my backyard. Now my friend got wind of what happened behind my house and had to see the murder scene. Hopping over a 4-foot-deep trench, we stopped at my father's run-down shed filled with rusted antiques and motor parts. "What's with the mini-motor around your house?" Devin asked, referring to the trench that reached from my house to Witch River. We sat on the old bar stools outside the outside workbench. "Oh, that," I responded while hopping on the stool. "It's my father's brilliant idea to bring water to the house. He thinks he wants to save on the water bill and filter the river water. I'm not sure how that will work, but my mom, and I didn't ask." I saw Marcus playing with the toolbox on the dusting table, and Stephen was leaning against a couple of oil drums. "Be careful, Stephen. Don't knock those over." Stephen looked at the rust-covered barrels and noticed some black oil or gas seeping from the cap at the top. "Sorry," he said, and moved away from them. "If those fall into the trench, it could contaminate the water supply," I said. "It could pretty much flow right into our house." Marcus was holding a couple of road flares he got from the steel toolbox. "Damn, man, someone should move those things," he said while playing with the flares. "Put those back," I told him. He gave me the middle finger and I put them back. "Okay, ladies, are we going to see the dead boy spot or what?" Devin said. We stopped talking and followed the trench, which happened to end right at the spot where Parker had died. It was a small cove with trees lining either side. Moss and weeds grew under the surface of the shallows. The river flowed down east and towards town. A set of train tracks lined the outer bank on the other side of the river. I often hear the horn as it enters the city. "So this is where the little squirt bit the dust?" Marcus asked with a glee in his eyes. Devin walked up to the edge of the cove. "Don't be such a douche, Marcus," Devin said. "His name was Parker." Devin bent down to touch the water. "Oh, sorry, Your Highness," Marcus mocked. "Dipshit," Devin shot back. "Ass licker," Marcus responded with growing anger in his voice. "Guys, knock it off," I demanded. Stephen was behind him when we heard it. A splash, downriver. "What the hell was that?" Devin asked. "I don't know," I said. We heard it again, but this time it sounded like it was closer. It started to rain hard. Maybe the rain is pushing mud into the river, Stephen theorized, but it didn't seem like it. Or maybe it's the river witch. "Remember what the drunk said? A witch killed that little turd and drowned him right here," he said, pointing towards the water shallows. Devin got up and stood with his back facing the river. "You're so full of crap, Marcus. There's no such thing as a river witch," Devin claimed. "Yes, there is. I know it. My dad told me once he saw a witch here when he was a kid," Marcus said. Devin stood his ground and barked. "Parker did not die from a witch." Devin's words trailed off when he saw all of us staring at something behind him. We all had the look of fear in our eyes. Marcus was pissing his pants. Devin could hear the dripping water behind him and a low moan of an old woman. "Something is behind me, isn't there?" Devin asked. There was something behind him. It was slowly coming out of the water as the rain bounced off its leathery skin. The witch grinned at us as its long, stringy hair fell around Devin. It rose up out of the water, almost towering 8 feet. Moss hung from its long, bony arms, like slimy snakes looking for a kill. "Devin," I said, "move away from there now, and don't look back." Devin started to move, but curiosity got the best of him and he looked. That was a mistake. The witch grabbed Devin by his ankles. The witch hung him 8 feet in the air. Devin screamed to be let go. The dirty old witch just laughed in his face with dirty broken green teeth and slammed Devin's body down hard into the shallows. The water splashed across the faces of Marcus and Stephen as well as mine. I wiped the dirty water from my face to see the witch pull Devin's lifeless body under the water with her. Shock ran through us as we stood transfixed, watching our friend die in front of us. The water was now flowing down the trench towards my house. "Let's get out of here!" Marcus finally screamed, breaking the silence. Stephen and Marcus and I scrambled to the top of the embankment while mud was sliding out from under our feet. I can't believe I just saw my best friend killed by the river witch. A real witch! We ran along the trench back to my house. I was screaming for my father. He came running out with a shotgun in hand. "What's going on, Toby?" my father yelled back. The rain almost drowned out his voice. "A witch! A witch!" I yelled to my father while my heart was beating in my throat. Dad opened the door and waved us in. The rain poured from our soaked clothing. "What happened, Toby?" my father asked again, with his hand on my shoulder. I told him my friends wanted to see where Parker had died, and to prove there was no witch. But there is a witch, and it got Devin. Dad just looked at the three of us and walked away. "You are saying the witch only got one of you?" my father asked with a weird tone in his voice. "Yeah, we need to call the cops," Marcus added. Stephen walked up and tugged on my father's shirt. "Mr. Wilkins, we can't just stand here. We have to do something." My father turned away from us. He placed his hand on his head and said, "Yes, you're right. I have to do something." Blood splattered across my face as I saw the butt of a shotgun slam into the jaw of Stephen. He dropped like a rock at the feet of my father, who was grinning ear to ear. "Dad, why did you do that?" I screamed, confused with what I was seeing. "Damn, your dad just killed Stephen," Marcus yelled. My chest heaved heavy as I was trying to catch my breath. "Mom!" I realized I did not see her. "Where's Mom?" I asked Dad again with more conviction. Dad opened the front door. The rain had slowed down. "Your mom is resting with God now, son." He pulled Stephen's body out of the door and threw him on the porch. "And soon you will all be as well." I backed up as I saw the witch slithering along the water-filled trench. I soon realized it was the way for the witch to get to the house easier. "You see, my son," my father continued, "I made a deal with the river witch. If I kill my family tonight and give her others, she will grant me eternal life." I watched as my father's evil smile got bigger. "I started with the Parker boy." I turned away in disgust. I looked out at the door to see the witch reach out with her waterlogged arms and take hold of Stephen. Her jaw opened like a snake, and I saw Stephen's body wiggle its way down her gullet in one bite. Fearing I was next, I backed up. Marcus was nowhere to be seen. "I think he took off." "You will get the rest, Jenny," my father said to the evil witch now standing on our porch. My father looked at me. "You see, Toby, the last one to live tonight gets to be immortal, and I plan on living forever." Just then Marcus came running out of the dining room with a fireplace poker in his hands. With all his force, he jammed the poker in the middle of my father's back. He let out a terrible scream. My father swung the shotgun around and Marcus ducked. He ran over and stood in front of me. The witch made its way and grabbed hold of the poker and ripped it from its back. Blood splashed across the family portrait of my mom, Dad, and I hanging on the wall. "Damn it, Green Teeth, that hurt!" Dad took aim at Marcus. "You die next," he fired. The torn body of Marcus flew past me. His face was completely gone. I saw one of these road flares in his overalls sticking out. Marcus must have stole one. Good thing I quickly grabbed the stick and lit it on fire. It sparked to life, filling the room with a warm orange glow. I saw the witch coming towards me. "Just let the witch finish you, Toby. Make it easy for me," my father demanded. I was still in shock of what was transpiring as I jammed the flare into the eye of the witch. It gave out a horrid yell as it whipped its arms around, screaming from the pain. "Damn it, Toby! Why do you have to make things so difficult?" my father said with disapproval. He tried to get up, and the witch knocked him over with its flailing arms. My father was out cold. I ran for the front door. I turned to see the witch and finally pulled the flare from her eye and was now on the prowl. I ran along the trench and got to the shed. I looked around for a weapon when I remembered the drums of oil. I opened the caps and knocked the two of them onto the trench. It quickly flowed along the river, heading towards the house. I saw it flow around the witch, also as she made her way to me. I took the flare out from the toolbox and sparked it to life. The orange glow flooded the shed. The witch was closer now. "This ends tonight, witch," I said, and threw the flare into the trench. It caught fire immediately and raced towards my house. The house started to blaze, filling the night sky with the color of hell. I saw my father leaning in the doorway of the house. The fire covered him, and he screamed in pain while falling back inside. The witch rushed past me in a hurry, almost knocking me over, and jumped back in the river. I watched as my house burned to ashes that night. Everything I had was gone. I will never forget that night. I will never forget what my father had done to me. It's now 100 years later, and I must kill my newest family to stay alive. Jenny Greenteeth demands it. We are back at Uncanny in King of Prussia Mall for Malloween on What Are You Afraid of? Horror and Paranormal Show. We have been with P.D. Cacek, who's sitting in for Phil Thomas, who's taking care of his mom today. Unfortunately, J. Lee Dodson could not make it down due to unforeseen auto trouble, but we were able to just play his new story that he wrote for the show, called Jenny Greenteeth, read by T. Fox Dunham. Thanks for writing that up. Wonderful Halloween story. Great little traditional kids Halloween twist at the end. So fun little tale. I'm sure we'll find a publisher for that. And that is on episode 65, Trick or Treat, live on video from King of Prussia Mall at Uncanny on What Are You Afraid of? Horror and Paranormal Show at www.whatareyoufraidofpodcast.com, where you can find all our previous episodes, including the stuff we've been doing for October, the amazing stuff. We've been in Gettysburg with Mark Nesbitt. We've been at Fort Mifflin. We did a great show with Katrina Weidman from Paranormal Lockdown, Lloyd Kaufman from Traumaville, Trauma Entertainment, and a wonderful show with Jonathan Elias, who is going to win, we know it, the Halloween Baking Championship competition on Food Network, where he's going to bring it in this Tuesday, and he comes on and gives us some great ideas. But like I said, you want to hear the previous shows, get a little spooky on www.whatareyoufraidofpodcast.com. And now we are sitting down with some wonderful authors, local authors and artists who are here signing books today. And I know one of them. I'm just meeting on the first time today. And you are?
T. Perrin Mitchell. I'm the writer and publisher of the Chronicles of the Talnar. We just released our second issue a few months ago.
Okay. And so it's your second one's out now. See, I didn't know that. And the first one was coming out. And we were just last year.
Yeah. We've I work with an artist named Kelsey Jewell. All the art is pen and ink with watercolor on top. And so we're not the quickest book in the world, because watercolor takes a little while to dry.
As long as it's not live.
No. So it takes a little while to get a book out, but issue 2 just came out, and we're shooting for issue 3 towards the end of the spring. I'm putting the finishing touches on the script now, and Kelsey will start in on the art at the beginning of the year.
Well, that sounds incredible.
Thank you.
It's going well for you?
It is. Yeah, I have a lot of projects that are kind of in the air right now, and actually I'm working on a short story collection. Might be interested to your listeners, because I have a ghost story in there.
Oh, what kind of ghost story is it?
It's kind of a twist on a ghost story where there's a couple in this house, and these ghosts can only communicate through moving stuff and really in a threatening way. But it turns out that they're maybe not exactly what they seem. I don't want to give too much of away.
That's fine.
But it's and I like it a lot because I'm playing with the form of the comic, and I'm doing some things in it that you can only do in a comic book. So playing around with panel structure and that sort of thing. So I'm really excited. And Lauren, the artist that I'm working with on that project, she did a fantastic job. And my hope is that at the very beginning of the year, that'll be running a Kickstarter for it to get put out. I just have to. Everything's written. I just need to find the right artists for the other stories that are going to be in there.
Now, where can you find your work at?
All my work can be found at town-nar.com, so that's TAL-NOR.com. And so that's where all my work lives, and because that's my main book is the Chronicles of the Talnar.
Right. And we got a wonderful background sound for this creepy song.
I know, I love it.
It's nice this came on. I love the Halloween scary music. We're here at Halloween. It's Uncanny and King of Prussia.
It's been great. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. And you are? Come on up.
Here, we'll switch. We'll swap. Yeah, that's right.
Play a little swapping music. Hey, there she is. She's good. How are you? What's your name?
I'm Meredith Moriarty.
Moriarty.
Yes.
The curtain rises. Sorry, Sherlock. I'm sure you hear that all the time.
I do, but it's all right. I mean, if this comic thing doesn't work out, I have a beautiful second career as a supervillain all planned out. So.
You want to co-host the show? The Fox and Moriarty, the supervillains. I like that. So, what are you signing here today?
Well, today I have my comic Third Shift Society. It is a supernatural action story about two paranormal detectives. One of them is a young girl. She's a college dropout, just trying to find her way in the world. And the other is a calm, intelligent man who has a pumpkin for a head. So a little bit of supernatural stuff, some ghosts, monsters, vampires, demons, and the like. But also a bit of humor too.
Okay.
So nothing too gory, too serious. It's supposed to be fun and exciting.
So that sounds great. And where can you find that at?
Well, I have it online as a webcomic.
Okay.
At ThirdShiftSociety.com.
All right.
I also have it on Tapas and Webtoon.
Okay.
Just as a mirror, and you can just, on those sites, just punch it into their search engine, and it should come up.
Right, and what we'll do is, at the website at www.whatayouafraidofpodcast.com, when we do the episode page for episode 65, Trick or Treat here at Uncanny Comics, we will make sure there are links up for you guys' work, so they can go to our website too and link in to find your work.
Beautiful.
That's what we do. We're out here to support indie artists. That's kind of why we started doing this. And we got one more person to talk to who is responsible for this. So bring this up here. Beautiful looking book coming out now. This is 5 Deals, 1 Devil. Looks like you've got some great local authors in it. I love the cover. You kind of get that in there. Ooh, the cover. So tell us about that. And you are?
I am R. Lawrence McPhee.
Okay.
I am actually the general manager of Uncanny Locations. We have 3 locations: King of Prussia Mall, Plymouth Meeting Mall, and in the Montgomery Mall.
Right.
Let's see. 5 Deals, 1 Devil. Essentially came about because there's a bunch of us, frustrated writers, artists, and decided to take that frustration and work in the short form. So we created an anthology, and I came up with the idea of, okay, like everybody give me 5 to 10 pages of a script about a deal with the devil.
Okay.
The purpose to creating like this type of anthology is simply to have one continuing story, even though you're getting different vignettes of that story. So the central character in all the stories would be the devil, but you get everybody's take on it. And what we got back was some really brilliant stories written by Steve Petrovelli, J.D. Carreco, Tim Hershey, Rob Patey, some excellent art by Sean Dillon, Mike Pouch. Crud, I'm missing a bunch of people. Christy Vanderzee, another writer, Benton Fight. These guys just came in and knocked it out of the park.
Right, as they often do.
Yeah, so it was like some pretty amazing stories. It's a different take on Deal with the Devil stories.
Yeah.
And you got like different things. Like we all did something so that it's fun.
Yeah, it sounds like you've got a good variety in there. And you can get this where? It's
you can actually get this at Uncanny. Issues will be in store October 30th.
Okay.
So you can pick it up. It's a great anthology, support local talent.
Right, definitely, always.
And we're working on a project for 2018. We're going to keep these anthologies rolling. The next one's going to be called Paradox.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be based on time travel. So it's a story.
Love time travel.
So if you're a writer and you want to do a story that basically the central character is either be going forward or backward in time to do or say something to themselves, thus creating a paradox.
Right, and that sounds like a great idea for a graphic novel. Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for being on the show, and thanks for having us here, too.
Thank you for having us.
Sure, there'll be links up on the website for their work at www.whatayouafraidofpodcast.com, and check out our October content. And we do scary all year round, but this is just when we do scary and can feel normal. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard. It's the only time of year that we can do scary and not be arrested for it. You know, a couple more days, they'll be hunting us down again. But thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
What happens to a ghost when their home is torn down? No one thinks of the disembodied when they rip down old buildings, dig up cemeteries, and build clean, unhauntable condos. Every year, hundreds of spirits are driven out of their own haunts by the careless living to exist alone with no one to scare. At Para X Radio, our hosts feel the plight of these evicted disembodied, and we're reaching out to you to please open your heart to one of these lost souls, such as the ghost soldier of the General Wayne Inn or the abandoned spirit cat of Benjamin Rush. So please, please, let a little spooky into your life. Won't you open your house to a ghost without a home?
Para X.
That Time of Year, written by Phil Thomas. It was the first day of October in the small coastal town of Rockport, Massachusetts, which could only mean one thing. The locals were hard at work, decorating their respective abodes. Mr. and Mrs. Stevens erected their homemade styrofoam tombstones, while their mayor, Paul Taylor, was busy turning the old vacant library into a haunted house for the youngsters, as he called them. As the whole town gradually turned black and orange, Detective John Sturgis was unable to share their enthusiasm due to the disappearance of his 19-year-old daughter, Cynthia, in late August while she returned home from a late summer party with her boyfriend Rocco. Sturgis always despised him and immediately placed blame on the delinquent by throwing him to the top of his suspects list. In the layers behind his conscious reasoning, however, he knew that Rocco wasn't responsible, considering this was a phenomenon that repeated itself every autumn in the quiet town. Like clockwork, a resident would mysteriously go missing, never to be seen again, the first being Lucy Chambers back in 1934. It was the only black mark on the community and the one thing the detective had feared for the last 10 years on the force, and now it had finally become personal. 5 agonizing weeks had passed and still no trace of Cynthia. If the past were any indication, those weeks would almost certainly turn into years, and his daughter would be just another victim on the long-growing list of statistics. As time slipped on, it had become more difficult to function daily, so he took a leave of absence from the force in order to care for Cynthia's mother, who had suffered a full nervous breakdown after the first week, but he still continued his investigation with outright desperation. On the second day of the month, Sturgis was returning home from his morning coffee run and passed the spacious property of Mr. Pritchard, who had already unboxed all of his Halloween decorations and prepared his property 2 weeks prior for his favorite holiday. He had started with the interior before moving outside to his front lawn, where he established himself as the town's most elaborate decorator, with scaled life-size replicas of zombies, ghosts, mummies, and scarecrows, each with a disturbing depiction of torture or mutilation. Some of the creatures were carefully seated in vintage rocking chairs, while others hung from nooses or secured in padlocked stocks. It was an annual occurrence that started shortly after the old man had lost his wife to the scourge known as cancer, but every year since her departure, the town's residents could look forward to a new addition to his collection, which equated to an appropriate 33 pieces displayed behind his secured wrought iron fence, one decoration for each year that had passed. The detective wasn't sure what had made him pull his car over to the side of the road this particular day to soak in the creepy atmosphere. It might have been fate or a near silent whisper, but as he left his car and walked to the front gate, a familiar sight caught his eye on the life-size emerald witch that hung by a noose from Pritchard's tree. On the woman's left wrist was an ornate tattoo of a black cat and the number 13 below it, the same tattoo his daughter had acquired earlier that spring. As Sturgis entered the property and approached the witch, his skin goosebumped at the realization that the arm was not made of plaster or fabric, but human skin. While sweat beaded on his forehead, he carefully pulled back the pointed nylon hat and lifted the rubber mask, laying his eyes upon the lifeless face of Cynthia. As he jumped back and assessed the other decorations on the lawn, he'd immediately concluded that these were the same folks that had delivered his mail, waited on him at the local supermarket, or fine-tuned his vehicle during annual inspections. They'd become a part of the twisted old man's permanent collection. He gingerly unmasked a tall ghost and scarecrow that were seated on a wooden bench, the familiar preserved faces of Bob and Donna Riley, slamming him like a steel girder as their unnatural grins and clouded sapphire eyes glared back at him. As he impulsively reached for his sidearm, catching dead air, a resounding click rang out behind him. The officer spun and noticed Pritchard securing a padlock on the iron fence. Sturgis called for help as the old man started towards him, whilst grasping his long outstretched syringe. "What have you seen?" he asked in a glassy tone. The detective's pleas fell on deaf ears, however. As he swept past the old man and reached for the padlock, he felt a sting on the nape of his neck. He turned and the needle caught him again, this time on his left shoulder. As he made a desperate struggle against the thin, pointed instrument of death, his world gradually fell to dusk. The detective's car was found abandoned 3 days later in a wooded area off of Route 9, and he was never seen again. For the rest of the month, Mr. Pritchard wore a sinister smile, because that particular autumn, he'd acquired not only one, but 2 decorative trophies for exhibition. He displayed them together. You can read the published version of that story on www.drunkenpenwriting.com. On the front page, just scroll down and look for that time of year, and also check out the interview with me and Drunken Pen Writing.
Well, that was great. I love talking, especially to Philadelphia artists.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, performers and writers.
Well, there are so many people out there, so many stars that need to be discovered, and
Yeah.
it's the joy of reading other
Right.
authors. I love that.
Right, and you know, and it's amazing how many haven't found that break yet. Like, do you remember what it was like being published for the first time by an actual publisher?
Yes.
And that thrill,
Yeah.
and the
yeah,
belief
I
that you
went
had
out and
made it.
took my cash check, cashed my check, and I went out and got a McDonald's.
See, that's
It wasn't much, but
that's a very important distinction. Is that she got a check?
I got a check.
Because there are a lot of publishers
Yes.
out there that don't pay you. They say it's credit and people tell you, but she got the check.
I got the
That's
check.
official.
And it's the check, not the e-account, not the PayPal. I'm older than dirt, so I got checks.
You are not.
I
was just thinking, you look exactly the same as last year.
Well, that's why you dig me up once a year. That's
We
why.
dig her up. We keep her in a cryogenic
Yes.
freezer. You know?
And in dog years, I'm dead. So anyway.
She's dog years. She's dead.
Yeah.
My wife has gone to find a taco somewhere. So
okay.
We're starting to wind things down here at the King of Prussia Mall for Malloween. It's been great.
It's been fun.
It's been great. Sold a bunch of books. Sold a bunch of copies of
Yeah.
Mercy.
Yeah.
And speaking of books, you're in an anthology. You want to talk
I
about?
actually edited an anthology.
Did you?
Edited with Laura Hickman.
Mhm.
It's from, and of course, being the idiot I am, I forgot to bring it with me, but it's, if you like ghost stories,
Okay.
it's called Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep.
Yes.
They are stories that get under your skin.
Mhm.
By known authors like Jack Ketchum,
Yeah.
Chris Golden, James
Yeah.
Moore, and new authors. We've got a couple authors. This is their very first sale.
Okay.
This is the charity anthology for the Jimmy Fund.
Okay. I'm familiar with them.
Yes, it is a childhood cancer society.
I did something with Laurie Michelle and Max Booth.
Yeah.
Who did that because her son has
Yeah.
cancer. We did a story.
But all proceeds go directly to the Jimmy Fund, so
Mhm.
you can find it online. Amazon.com, Nikon Books. Go to www.nikonpublishing.com or whatever.
Yeah.
Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep. And I guarantee at least one of those stories you'll remember for a long, long time. And I won't say which one because it'll all be different.
And we're doing great, thanks. That's the staff here at Uncanny.
Uncanny.
Yeah. Have any ghost stories? No.
Have you seen a ghost?
Saw ghosts?
Have you?
In real life, not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
He doesn't know.
Or that maybe you have, but you don't know.
Oh, but probably, well, a ghost is probably right behind me.
Right.
Who knows?
That's true. You never know. See, that's what happens. You talk to people. We're in a
We're
live
live.
setting.
We're live
We are
today.
live.
Yeah,
We
we're
are
live
live.
at King of Prussia. That's the fun about being live is you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, and we've had some problems with live. We've had a lot of bugs to work out. We had a lot of problems at Pennhurst with their stream and their feed, and we've had problems in Gettysburg. But otherwise, you come through it, and you sort of, I am a producer. That's what I've discovered. I'm a host here, but I'm more of a producer than anything else. And I've learned what a producer has to do is improvise. It means you hit a problem, you still have a show to do. And you got to do it, and you got to figure out a way to come up with a way to solve the problem. We owe about 3 episodes a month to Para X Radio, about an hour episode. And that's sort of where my cue is. And it's just, I've been working so hard to get the show going because I'm not able to go to a lot of the conventions. My health doesn't allow it, Allison started grad school.
Oh Lord.
At UNC.
Okay, yeah, no, you're home.
Yeah,
You're home.
that's the priority.
Yeah.
She's studying to be an accountant. It's a grad program, so that's where the money's going. I can't spend the money for a hotel and to fly out to California. I'm going to try to hit some, but I really can't network, and I hate to say it. This is very much also. I mean, it would be nice if we lived in a world, and I hate this is the honest truth, where publishers pick you for the merit of your work, but they don't. They also pick you.
I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah, there it is.
Yes, if you are, a video star, Kardashian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've always thought it's the work that counts.
Mm-hmm.
I have authors, that I love.
Yeah.
But, it's the work. It's not, so-and-so was on, iPod, this, and, it's like, great, can you write?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And I've seen incredible work.
This man can write.
Oh, well, thank you. Who's that?
I don't know.
Oh,
Dude.
Yeah, some has been.
Yeah.
No, with Bloodbound Books.
Something with, a fox in the name.
Yeah, Bloodbound Books has actually stayed in. I mean, we have lost so many publishers in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
They're dropping like flies. And
Sawin went away.
Sawin went
Leisure
away.
went away.
Well, the guy from Sawin, didn't he just go over to Flame Tree?
Yes, he did.
Okay, so he's there.
Yes,
That's
he did. Don Doria.
Don Doria, right. And we lost Sawin. Dark Regions went under, didn't they? Yeah. Was that Dark Regions? No, it was Dark Fuse.
Dark Fuse. Because Dark Region, I think, it's still kind of kicking on there.
Yeah, Dark Fuse went under, and they really took off a lot of people. Like, there were people who sold books and never got a royalty statement. Her stomach's upset. She needs somebody.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but it's true, and I hate to say it that and I had to start a show because it was the only way I could keep my face and my name current to start getting invited back into anthologies and to start getting recognized and start having a CV. Because once I stopped being able to be a part of that social world,
Oh, I know.
you get forgotten about.
I'm a Luddite, and
Yeah.
I've taken off a lot of writing time for short stories, which I used to just write short stories to write novels. So, hi, I'm PD Cacek. Invite me to your anthology.
Yeah, please.
I work cheap, obviously.
And she's good. I mean, she's more than just an author. She lives what she does. She is Miss Ghost Story. She loves Ghost Stories of New Hope. She's out there in Phoenixville. She's a great personality to have, and we'll be doing more with her in the future. And we'll be getting some ghost hunts set up now that we actually have some credibility. It's just that's something else we were talking about was like, okay, so we want to set up a ghost hunt, and every place that I've looked at that might be good for us to really get working at, like, an initial ghost hunt at like something like Penhurst or something, it's $1,500 a night. Who does that?
If you are independently wealthy and you have your own crew, that's fantastic. We don't.
No, we don't.
But it's almost like, being a writer now, starting out, we have the love, we have the life, we want to do this.
Right.
So what we're going to do, we're going to do it somehow. We are going to do it.
Yeah, what I'm going to try to do is, and I've been talking to some groups about this, is the term reporters use in war, we want to embed ourselves into active, because it's going to be very difficult to build a paranormal investigation group up from scratch without the equipment, without the experienced people, without the credibility, because let me tell you something, and I've discovered this like doing promotional work, and that's in PA alone, there's 1,000 paranormal groups.
Yeah.
And 75% of them, I'm sorry to say, they're not very stable.
Well, no, it's like, and I hate to say this, writers, but if it's a startup publishing house, you go in there with hope and joy, and it's hard.
Right.
It is hard to publish. It is hard to get published, but it's hard to publish and maintain it, and after a bit, you just lose heart.
And that's something that is the pattern in indie publishing is people start a publishing house, and half the time it's an author who's not getting published very well and wants to control their career, so they start a publisher, and they'll bring in other authors to sort of give them credibility. I'm sure you've seen that. But even then, people who don't want to do that, who want to start a publisher as a small business, to sort of follow their dream, they start, and then the reality hits them. That publishing isn't about good writing, it's about good salesmanship.
Yeah, unfortunately, with authors, it's the same thing. It's salesmanship, and you self-promote, but you have to have something to promote.
Yeah.
Not just you. You have to have something that goes, look, I can write.
But just learning how to self-promote is so difficult. I mean, and what are you going to do? Most people go onto Facebook, and tweet their book 50 times a day. And it's like, people, you have to have more than that. And that's why we started the show. This show was about promoting our work and about promoting the work of friends and getting out there and having fun and creating an attractive medium. And you'll always hear a commercial for a book. You'll always see a link for a book.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something we try to do here and talk about the industry. But
it's also, you know, and there's the haunted thing. What are you afraid of? It is. What are you afraid of?
Yeah.
You know, it's more than books. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, it is a lifestyle. We love our horror, and we've been living up Halloween. We really have. It's been incredible, and thanks to the help of friends and expansion, we've had some great guests on the show. We've been able to do some live stuff, some video stuff, playing with video editing. You know, Mark Nesbitt with us. We did a great reading. I'm gonna get that set up from Fort Mifflin. I'll have that video out soon, and it's just been fun. You know, and we've got another year to put together material, and we'll be out there fighting.
And it won't just be Halloween, because Halloween, if you think of it right, is every day of the year.
Halloween is like a Christmas song. Halloween is every day in your hearts. Kill them all. That's it.
Now you know why he digs me up only once a year.
Once a year, yeah. Help me. Halloween is all the... Kill them all.
No, if I sang, everybody turn off their computer right now. So trust me on that one.
Yeah, probably. Okay. Yeah. No.
No.
It's scary stuff.
Yeah, I sing in the shower. The cat leaves. So anyway.
But we're getting ready to start closing down the show.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm getting tired, and we've been out here since 9 o'clock at Malloween, and it's been incredible. Look at all the people here.
I know, and you know, good vibes. You know,
great
people
vibes,
look and they're just having fun.
Yeah, it's been.
And Halloween is that. It's not Christmas, but Halloween is the joyful time too.
It is really joyful. If you really think about it, you have fun at Christmas, but you have the most fun at Halloween.
Yeah.
I mean, going to the haunted houses and enjoying the spooky stuff and the baking and the darkness.
And you can be who you want to be.
Right.
And nobody minds.
Right.
Much.
And you can be P.D. Cacek and T. Fox Dunham. I said Phil Thomas wasn't able to make it today. He is taking care of his mom. J.B. Dodson is kind of stuck but having fun this Halloween, and we played a short story from him. We've had some great content. I want to thank everybody who's been taking care of us in October, and this is our October special, our Halloween special, episode 65, Trick or Treat, here at Uncanny Comics in the King of Prussia Mall. I got to thank my wife for being extraordinarily supportive.
Oh yeah.
This month, you know, getting us to the places we need to go, supporting the equipment, parking at Penhurst. We've been at Penhurst twice. Got to thank Penhurst for taking care of us and giving all those free VIP passes. Those were great. Getting able to go through Penhurst twice as a VIP, that was wonderful. Got to thank Katrina Weidman from Paranormal Lockdown for spending so much great time with us, and she wants to come back on the show.
Fantastic.
So got to thank Lloyd Kaufman from Trauma Entertainment for coming on and smashing views of society and freedom of speech, and he just gets out there and he's got so much heart, you know. So thank you, Lloyd, and you know, we just had so many great guests like Debbie
Thank
Chestnut.
you, Uncanny.
Oh, thanks, Uncanny,
Comics.
for bringing us out. I'm sure we'll be back. They want us to come back up, you know, and hopefully we'll have some ghost hunts. But
Can do that.
Trish, thank you so much for coming up.
Oh, thank you for inviting me and digging me up again. And
Digging up, and
okay, remember the
What Are You
site.
Afraid Of? Horror and Paranormal Show at www.whatareyoufraidofpodcast.com. And what we're going to do is we're going to close with something a little longer tonight. It's a friend of mine, Tim McLean, and his son Jack. TM's an author. He helped us devise the questions for the Kaufman interview, and he was just incredible with his questions. He's criticizing some horror movies tonight with his son, kind of a family way to close.
Oh, very nice.
You know, he's over in Cyprus, and we just want him to play this thing he recorded with Jack, because Halloween, it's great when fathers and sons and daughters and mother and family are getting together and sharing this wonderful horror tradition, and they've got a great relationship.
Fantastic.
Thought it might be fun for our fans to hear them criticize, you know, father and son criticize his horror movies.
Okay.
But otherwise, I think we're out.
Yeah. Who to you?
Yeah, this
Happy
is
Halloween.
T. Fox Dunham.
And P.D. Cacek.
And we will see you again soon on What Are You Afraid Of? Horror and Paranormal Show. And please check out the website for our October episodes. We've done some great Halloween stuff. And be safe, celebrate the new year, and enjoy Halloween like we will be.
Always.
But thanks for joining me, Trish. It's been really a lot of fun.
It has been.
And I'm sure you'll be back on the show quite soon.
I'm sure.
You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows, visit electronicmediacollective.com.
And I'm Jack's dad, Tim, and we're going to talk about some Halloween things and some horror movies that we've seen and that Jack's seen, and then later on we're going to focus on some clown horrors.
Yeah.
So, Jack, what do you think makes a good horror film?
Like, it has to have a scary theme.
What do you mean by that? What's a scary theme?
Like, something that can scare people.
Like what?
Like, maybe clowns or...
Why do you think clowns would be scary, though?
Some people just find clowns a bit scary. I don't know.
And you've had a little bit of a run-in with clowns anyway, haven't you? Since, I think last year, the world's been going a little bit clown crazy.
Yeah.
And you had a little bit of a scare, didn't you? So why don't you tell us about that?
Right. So one day on social media, someone posted something saying that they were going to come to our school, like clowns and things. And then someone got it from the school and started spreading it around. So everyone in the school got it. And then one day, the teachers just stopped showing us the front gate so we couldn't get to it. And apparently, some of our friends seen something outside the gate, so I started believing it.
So do you think there was actually clowns outside the gate?
Not really. There's just a little rumour going around, but I do kind of believe it as well because the teachers wouldn't let us go near the gates.
Oh, okay. So how did that make you feel? Were you scared?
Yeah, a little bit. Because I wasn't sure if they were going to break in or stuff.
What did you think they would do if they did break in?
I don't know, probably just scare people and then run away maybe like they normally do.
Yeah, okay.
Normal videos.
Okay. Have you got any other Halloween memories that you'd like to share maybe?
I do remember running around in like a pig mask scaring people.
Oh yeah, because we went out and you were dressed. What did you have? Did you even have a costume?
I think it was like I had like a black cape and I wear a pig mask.
Alright, and it was a friendly looking pig, wasn't it?
No.
And, it was quite friendly. It had like a smiley face. It didn't look sinister. It didn't look like an evil pig or anything.
I remember it looking like...
And there were some girls, as we were walking past, and they were saying, pigs aren't even scary. And I was saying, I thought that was the scariest thing, because if somebody comes up to you with a friendly looking pig mask on and like a big knife, it's weird. Like that's scary, isn't it?
Yeah, I
remember. It's like some sort of psychopath.
I also remember seeing like a weird hedgehog thing.
What? Like, as in an actual hedgehog?
Yeah.
Alright.
Rolling down the street.
You didn't dream that?
I don't think so.
No, I think you may have dreamt that. So what did we say, right? So what did you say makes a good horror film? Let's focus on that.
So it has like a scary theme of something that would scare people.
Right. Okay. Well, I can get behind that because otherwise it's not a horror film, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So can you think of any good examples?
Maybe sharks.
So.
Jaws.
Alright. Because there's some people argue that Jaws is not a horror film.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a horror film?
I don't really, so I'm not really that scared of sharks if they're on the screen, but I feel like if I meet them in person, it will be scary.
Right, but I guess you could say the same about anything, right? Because, I mean, I'm not really scared of ghosts when I see them on a screen, but if I saw a real one, then I might be scared. It's
true.
So, but I guess Jaws is not really a Halloween movie, but I still think it's a horror movie.
Yeah. Because
it's scary,
it still
right?
gives you a few scares in the film.
So what kind of scares do you think make something scary? Like what would it take to scare
if
you?
you're not expecting it, but then it jumps out on you.
So jump scares?
Yeah.
Okay.
When you're not expecting them.
Right. But you always expect them because they build up the music, right? And then there's a wah!
Not always.
Okay. So what's your favourite scary film that you've ever seen?
Probably It, because it's probably the only
It.
kind of
Okay, so we're talking about 1990s It, which was actually, it's not really, I don't think it's really a movie. It was, I think it was released in 2 parts, or maybe even shown in 4 parts on the TV.
Yeah,
it's part of the Stephen King's
book.
Well, it was Stephen King's book, yeah, but it was shown as like his mini-series thing. So it was mini-series Maxi Terror. That was the tagline, and they showed things like The Stand. And what else was a miniseries? I can't remember now. But The Stand and It definitely were miniseries. I think they made a miniseries of something else as well. I'll come back to it later.
Alright.
But so what did you think of It, the film?
Like,
What did you like about it? Did you think it was scary? Now this is point out. Jack has just turned 13, and I think I watched this TV program in 1990 when it first aired. So I must have been only about 8 or 9, I guess. And I thought it was terrifying. There was like this, and I had doubts about showing it to Jack because I thought he would be too scared of it. So what did you actually think of it?
I just thought it was really bad and I laughed the entire way through.
Yeah, you really laughed. You laughed all the way through, kind of the same way that maybe I would laugh my way through The Toxic Avenger or...
What's one?
Or maybe we'll watch that one day when you're a bit older. Or maybe Evil Dead 3 or something. Like, I didn't think it was funny like that, but what did you think made it funny?
Just the bad effects.
What was so bad about them?
They just looked really bad and cheesy and stuff. Like, you could tell it just edited in.
So it didn't look realistic?
No, not at all. The new It, though, would be better.
Well, we haven't seen that. I don't know what the age rating is on that, but I don't think you're probably not going to get to see that for a while. So what parts of the movie stand out to you? Can you remember any bits?
The Georgie scene when he finds when we first see.
As in the opening scene?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
When we first see Pennywise.
And did you think that was scary?
Not at all.
Not even like when you see the teeth come really close to the screen? And...
Nah. I can't really, explain how I felt about that scene.
Was it... Did it make you want to watch the rest of the film?
Yeah, but, I wanted to watch it because I've heard a lot about it from my friends, and they said it was a really, really good film.
Oh, okay. So what, other than the first scene, then what else stood out for you? Because I thought that was terrifying when the teeth come close to the screen and it's like,
Nah. Didn't really find it that scary compared to, what my friends have shown me.
What have you seen then? What have you seen that's scarier than that?
I don't know, I used to watch, a lot of, alien and ghost videos when I was quite young with you.
Right.
And
when people say they've seen a real alien and
they scare
like those
me
things we watched on YouTube.
Because I used to stand in the bathroom and cry because I couldn't come out the bathroom because I thought something was going to be there to get me or something.
Okay.
I got really scared.
But you didn't get scared of it?
No.
What about other scenes then? What other scenes are there? What can you actually remember about the film, first of all? Like, what actually happens in the film?
So, there's a clown thing called Pennywise,
right,
who feeds off children's fears.
Right. I think it's every 30 years or something he wakes up to feed, right?
So he goes round children and lures them into somewhere and then morphs into the fears and then kills them.
Right. So why do you think he appears as a clown?
Because it might be something that kids like and it gets them into places.
Oh, so he lures them in with this friendly clown thing and then he comes with a horrible yellow teeth.
Because he says he's a Pennywise, a dancing clown.
Right.
And then...
Do you see him dancing in the movie? I don't know. I don't remember him dancing.
He just calls himself that.
There's a great scene when he opens the book. When they're looking through the photos and they all come to life and they start moving and things.
And then he gets on the lamppost and starts talking to them.
That was really cool. Did that not freak you out?
That freaked me out a little bit, actually. Probably the only part that freaked me out. I remember the sewer scene where he goes through the vents and stuff.
When he's just the lights.
Yeah.
The dead lights, right?
Dead lights.
Yeah. Did that frighten you? No? Did any of it frighten you?
Not really. I like the library scene a lot as well, when they were older, and they were in the library.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But there was one bad thing about that. When the balloon came down and they popped, the people flinched.
Well, wouldn't you flinch if the balloon popped?
No, but the people who flinched weren't supposed to see the balloons. But then they popped, and the blood went all over the place, but they still flinched.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. So there was people in the library who were just normal people, right?
Yeah, but they can't see Pennywise.
Right.
And all the things that he does. But then the balloons came down and they popped with blood and stuff.
And they all flinched away from them.
Yeah.
I suppose, to give them credit though, it must be pretty hard to be in a movie and have something pop and squirt stuff on you without you reacting at all. That would be pretty hard, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but like,
Yeah, I know what you mean. It kind of takes you out of the movie, doesn't it?
yeah.
I actually really... What did you think of the bit in the Chinese restaurant?
When they had the Chinese crackers.
Yeah, what can you...
And like
why
opened
don't you,
them up.
why don't you explain what happened to them?
So they opened them up, and like all the fear started coming out of the fortune crackers. And, like,
Fortune cookies, right?
Yeah, that's it. Like, one was like a cockroach, and one was filled with blood.
Yeah, one was like a sort of funny crab pincery thing.
Yeah,
What did you think of them?
they were very strange.
Did it not freak you out?
No, looked weird.
So the special effects are rubbish, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Was there anything good about it?
There was actually one scene where he woke up from like a dream or something, or he was in a dream and he saw like the graves. They said like one was taken.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Empty. That big.
That was a guy he committed suicide. I forget his name. He committed suicide in the bath or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then the next day, the main guy has a dream, and it's one of the graves is already taken.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that freaked me out.
That freaked you out. Why did that freak you out, though?
I'm not really sure why. It just kind of scared me a little bit.
But that's not a jump scare.
I know.
So you're saying that the jump scares make a good horror film, but that freaked you out and it scared you, but that wasn't a jump scare.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the angle I come from. I think things that make you think are much more frightening than things that just pop out at you and then disappear again.
Cause I've also played games where stuff pop out at me.
Have you which games?
I played Five Nights at Freddy's.
You played what?
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, it's like a game. You give in like a pizzeria, and there's like animatronics that come to life, come to kill you.
Okay.
You gotta like try to survive like for 6 hours.
And where have you played this?
At home.
No, I mean like on the internet or?
On my phone. There's like a...
Is it like an app?
Yeah. You can also get it on your computer.
I've never heard of that.
I've talked about it a lot.
Have you? Okay. Well, you have to show me it after this.
Yeah.
So, other than that, is there anything else to add?
Oh, at the end of it, they showed his true form, which I think
As in, at the end of Stephen King's it, right? Not at the end of it. Yeah? Not at the end of the game that you were talking about.
Oh, right now. At the end of the film, It.
The mini-series, Maxi Terror.
Oh,
It.
the whole film.
Right.
It shows, like, they go into, like, a cave thing. It shows Pennywise in his true form. Like, as a giant spider thing.
What do you think of that?
Oh, I don't really like spiders. It's just...
And then how did they end up defeating Pennywise in the end? Or the Deadlights, or the Beast, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It. How did they defeat it?
Didn't they throw, like, a rocket or stab it?
Well, they had these silver things, didn't they? I can't remember whether like silver brooches or something.
When he first threw it at him, and it like cracked him open.
That was when he was still the clown, wasn't it?
Fell down the
and then and he got sucked into the pipe or something. Can you remember the other bit?
Bad.
Can you remember the other bit when he said, "This is battery acid, you slime"?
Yeah.
And he sprays him with his inhaler.
Battery
acid. Yeah, it's pretty good. So what are your plans for this Halloween? It's weird because we're in Cyprus at the minute and it doesn't feel very autumnal, does it? Because it's really hot.
Well, it's not really hot, it's just...
Well, it's pretty hot. We were out at the water park today and we got sunburn and...
I got sunburn on my nose.
Yeah. So it doesn't feel all that autumnal.
It doesn't feel hot, like, it is hot. Like, it gets you sunburn easily.
It's a little weird. So it doesn't feel much like Halloween at the moment.
Yeah.
But what are you doing? What do you do to get yourself in the Halloween mood? Have you got any Halloween parties to go to this year? Or?
No, I don't do Halloween parties in school anymore.
No, how come?
Because I've gone to a secondary school now.
Are you too old?
No, I just don't do Halloween parties in school.
Dear.
Don't do that in primary schools.
Oh, that's a bit lame, isn't it?
So I feel like for this Halloween I might go out and like scare people.
How are you going to do it? What are you going to dress up?
I don't know, I'm just going to hide in the bush and like maybe pour water on them.
Why don't you dress as a clown?
No. Don't you get arrested for that?
Oh. Yeah, don't do that. Don't dress as a clown.
Yeah, I'm not going to. Maybe not going to.
So there's a bit of advice for everyone out there.
Yeah, don't dress up as a clown and go out scaring people. Apparently last year, just before like it started to stop, you can get arrested for it.
Yeah, we don't want that. Nobody wants to get arrested.
Yeah, you don't want to get arrested.
No. And you don't want to scare people into actually thinking that you're really going to.
Yeah, 'cause they can like run around like chainsaws and stuff.
I don't know, there was a lot of rumours about this whole clown thing. But at the end of the day, it's about as scary as Stephen King's It. Isn't it? I mean,
yeah. Well,
I mean, it's a bit weird if you were just stalked by somebody in the middle of the night wearing a clown mask. That would be pretty scary.
Like, 'cause that's actually real.
Yeah. But,
instead of just seeing on like.
But what about just kids coming to scare people in school? Do you think that's really scary? I don't know.
Not really.
I guess maybe in America it's a different where people bring guns to schools and have all these horrible massacres and things. Yeah. But we don't really have that problem out here.
Oh.
Are you tired? Well, I'll tell you what I'll do to get in the Halloween spirit.
What?
Drink hobgoblin beer. It's the best. It's the best thing to drink at Halloween because it's got, look at the design on the bottle. It's so good.
It's not really that scary, like.
No, yeah, it's not scary.
Halloween even.
I think it's quite Halloween. It's a goblin.
Yeah, true.
But actually, the deal with that beer is actually good. Yeah, it's from the Witchwood Brewery. They're really good. Not that I'm sponsored by the Witchwood Brewery or anything like that. I just really like them. My favourite one they do actually is Goliath beer, but that's not very Halloween, you know? Not Halloween, but they also do they do one called Witchwood, which is quite nice.
Never heard of it.
No, but you don't drink beer, so.
Nope.
What about if they did like a hobgoblin Sprite or something? Would you drink that?
Probably not.
Why? Even if it had a picture of a hobgoblin on the front.
Just a Sprite can, like a hobgoblin.
Yeah. Or like a ghost or something, or skeleton Sprite.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah. Could be bone flavoured.
Bone flavoured.
Yeah. It tastes just like a bone.
That doesn't taste nice.
How do you know? You've had pork chops before, haven't you?
I've eaten bone before, I didn't like it.
Oh well. I guess that's it.
Yeah.
So the verdict on it, let's say, if we were going to give it a score out of 10, what would you give it?
6.
6?
Yeah. Because it had some scary scenes, but I also found it really funny.
Well, actually, after rewatching it, I think I would give it probably less than that. I think maybe even a 4.
That was my first time ever watching it.
I think when I first watched it, I would have probably given it
9.
Yeah, something like an 8 or a 9. But watching it again, it's just it's dated very badly.
You should go watch the new one then.
But the new one apparently is all jump scares, so I don't know. Maybe it's not really my thing. Maybe you would like it more.
Maybe, yeah.
Other than that, what's the scariest thing you've ever done?
Oh. I'm not sure actually. I've done a lot of scary things.
Have you?
Probably the Scream or the Hair Raiser.
Oh, you mean the theme park rides?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty scary.
I cried before both of those rides.
Well, we're not going to cry now, because we're just going to say Happy Halloween, so say Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween!
Fox Dunham lives in Philadelphia with his wife Allison. He's a lymphoma survivor, cancer patient, modern bard and historian. His first book, The Street Martyr, was published by Gutter Book. A major motion picture based on the book is being produced by Throughline Films. Destroying the Tangible Illusion of Reality or Searching for Andy Kaufman, a book about what it's like to be dying of cancer, was recently released from Perpetual Motion Machine Publishing, and Fox has a story in the Stargate anthology, Points of Origin, from MGM and Fandemonium Books. Mercy was recently released by Bloodbound Books. Fox is an active member of the Harvard Association. He's been published in hundreds of short stories and articles, and his motto is Wrecking Civilization, one story at a time.
Phil Thomas resides in the suburbs of Philadelphia and is an author and filmmaker. His screenplays have been produced into feature films such as False Face and Always from Darkness that are available in major retailers such as Best Buy and Target, as well as availability on Netflix and Amazon On Demand.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.